Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? What do you know and what don't
S-
you know there?
all I know is Murphy's in the ICU, and there's some allegation that he did something. That's where I'm
Is that where you want to stay for now?
at.
Or would you like more information? It is an
Well,
active
let's start
investigation,
with.
so
Okay, let's start with. If he is being accused of something, is it felony? Is it violent? What level are we talking about?
at the very least right now it's violent.
Okay. So in that case, this is my how do I phrase this? This is my suggestion. This is not me dictating. This is not me asserting anything to you. This is not me lording over you. This is my suggestion. Take it however you will. In the past, I myself have been in situations where I was accused of crimes by PD, and they sought to arrest me. Um, while it was interesting and humorous, and it was a teaching moment for a lot of people in a lot of ways, it's likely not, in my opinion,
Chief
the
Justice
best
Crane.
protocol for cops to just simply arrest and process judges on the spot. Just like I don't believe it is the best protocol for cops to arrest cops and process cops on the spot. The reason
Okay,
being
same
is
way
that
we
I
do with
think that
cops. Okay.
it kind of turns into a battle of wills, if you will, a dick measuring contest, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think it benefits anyone. In my experience, I had a fellow named Croc, this guy from Ohio. Uh, we did a bench trial. Long story short, the defendant ran out of the bench trial after my sentence. I issued my normal contempt warrant for 500 months and all this. But I knew the guy, and I was like, Croc, listen, I can go down to this guy's turf and probably get him to come turn himself in. I just got to talk to him because he's not answering the phone. And so Croc's like, all right, we can go down there, but you can't go alone. I can't let you do that. I'm like, okay. So I go down, driving down to the south side to go find this guy. Croc's got his license sirens on him, thinking we're going to go arrest this guy. Next thing I know, Croc is like yelling at me, saying, no, 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 my license sirens are on because I'm pulling
Oh,
you
he
over
is.
for reckless driving and all this kind of shit. And it turned into a whole thing, and I got a bench trial, and we got another judge in there, and we had a whole back and forth. I represented myself, but I don't think I don't think it's the right way to go about things because it kind of turns into a clusterfuck in the moment. So what we did at the end of the stability of our society before the collapse was we had a protocol where if police were charging police or if police were charging judges or whatever, the charges we put on the docket, the person would be suspended from active duty, whether judge or cop. And then they would have the ability to confront those charges, at a proper time on the docket with full evidence and all that. That way, there wasn't this sort of power dynamic back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
So, my suggestion, without hearing exactly what's going on with Murphy, and given this is the first time since the rebuilding that something like this has occurred, would be to you that we agree to stick to that policy and protocol. So that, for example, let's say, two times who I just met over there, let's say he were to be accused of a crime by Captain Ruth, she wouldn't just immediately, cuff him up, take all his police shit, put him in civvies, and throw him in a cell and process him. He would be suspended. It would go on the
Chief Justice
docket,
Crane.
et cetera, et cetera. And
Head
I
of
think
DOJ.
that's probably the most fair way to go about things. What do you think?
Sounds fair. Do we have some sort of time frame? You're looking to have a case like this added to the docket?
I mean, look, in my opinion, and I don't know the circumstances of the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but if there's enough to, accuse someone, cop or a judge, and the police force believes that it's viable, at least to the extent that they should be doing their due diligence, then I have no problem. You communicate that to me, and I'll suspend the judge. That's, sight unseen. I don't need to see any evidence. I don't need to hear anything. If you communicate to me that you have what you believe at least to be a semi-viable case against a judge for a felony or a violent felony or whatever, I have no problem suspending the judge and, waiting for you to do your investigation in the meantime. That way there's continuous sort of respect from the public in that we don't just, shield our own. We're, taking things seriously. And you have time to, figure out what's what. So I have no problem doing that. And that gives you, the full 30-day duration of the statute of limitations from the crime to decide if you want to press the charges or not.
Okay. I think at the very least, at face value, I think that would be a good route to go.
Okay. I will take your word for it. As I said, this is, a spirit of mutual cooperation and understanding. So I will, I will take your word for it. I'll rely on your due diligence. I'll suspend Murphy. I don't know if he's even out of the hospital. I heard he was in ICU.
He is not out of the hospital, no.
But I will send an email to his caregivers that when he wakes up, he's to be informed that he's suspended. And I will go ahead and ensure that he complies with your investigation.
That'd be great.
Okay. That being said, if you need anything from me in terms of information about Murphy, I've known the man a long time, so I can help with anything like character based. But in terms of day to day, I've been so busy. To be honest, I could not account for the man's whereabouts, not even 1 second.
Fair enough. I know we have a couple good officers looking into it, and a lot to go through. So,
all right.
If they have any questions for you, I'll let them know they contact you.
Sounds good. So, and by the way, this policy about charges going on the docket between cops and judges, this is basically just, in my mind, it's not something that's going to be codified where we're going to write it down on a piece of paper. This is just an agreement, between gentlemen that professionally it doesn't make sense for our two departments to go at each other. So in the meantime, we'll agree to, let's say, exercise your discretionary powers in a way that makes sense for everybody and brings the most respect to our respective departments.
All right. Let me ask you a question then.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense to me. I understand it. I've been doing this long enough to understand how this works. What happens when the media finds out about it? Word starts getting around.
I think that, in my opinion, there is a reason that we have taken, and I think people should realize this. If anyone asked me, for example, someone came up to me and said, do you think it's right that your judges, charges go to the docket and blah, blah, I would say that we have deliberately, in the spirit of this rebuilding and the restructure, taken an extreme amount of due diligence, time, and patience in selecting the people that we're hiring. In fact, I have a waiting list of 35, 40 people asking to be lawyers, judges, clerks, probably 50 if I include clerks. And I've hired, I think, 16 to 20 total. I have the utmost confidence in the people I'm hiring. And, if there is some semblance of possibility that they've committed some kind of crime or been involved in something untoward, then, I have no problem affording them the fullest due process in terms of preparing for that. Now, anyone, right, can appeal charges to the docket. Any single person. It doesn't change anything. The only thing that changes is that the judges and the cops aren't being charged immediately. The reason for that is because if that happened, you could have literal rogue divisions of cops deciding that one side is corrupt, following each other around and policing each other and looking to get gotcha moments for someone speeding or, taking illegal turns without their lights on or whatever the fuck, right? And that serves no one. So, if people were to complain about that, I think I'd just say to them, what would you rather? Would you rather police infighting and not serving you? Or would you rather them, having this small allowance, which keeps the peace internally. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty simple answer, to be honest.
Sure. I just wanted to see what your opinion on that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no problem answering for that. I will if need be.
All right.
All right, sir. Well, you keep me posted. Let me know, what's going on. I'll inform Murphy if and when he wakes up, at least his caregivers, that he's been suspended pending the outcome of your investigation and/or charges.
All right, and I'll go ahead and forward our discussion here to the other captains as well as the officers running the investigation.
All right. Sounds
Alrighty.
good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming down.